This is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed rock musician, Dan Sheehan. But before we get to our interview, here is a sneak peek at the incredible talent of Dan.
And you see the flag up there. That is the flag of a country called Kiribati or Kiribati. It's about literally this high above sea level. In fact, they're so concerned that the president of Kiribati has actually gone ahead and purchased land in Fiji to relocate the entire population to.
Goodbye, dear friends. We wish you every well. It's an inevitable outcome. You know we gotta sell. Get a vision cars full. There's a vision factories to change what infringe on our dearest liberty. Dearest liberty.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
I am well. How are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you finally. I feel like we've had this interview on the books for months.
I know.
Well, it's really great to meet you, Dan. And listen, I want to know first and foremost, where were you born, Dan? And when did you realize that you had such a love of music?
Okay, well, I was born in Manhasset, New York. My first home was in Queens, and then I lived in Nassau County, Long Island for most of my upbringing, a little bit of Pennsylvania. And then as an adult lived in New York City, and now I'm in New Jersey. My love for music, I was just thinking about this last night. Uh, I was watching Dancing Queen by ABBA, the video, and remembering that when I was 8 years old, a friend of mine played that, and it really was like, wow, this is amazing. And of course, I then, a few years later, I was way too cool for ABBA. But I remember I had older siblings and they were playing like some old records like by The Who and stuff. And that was another like, wow, this is such powerful music, that really resonates with me. And it lifted me to being, just a casual fan of music like most people might be, to like, this is something I really want to invest energy into.
Well, you're an award-winning songwriter as well, my friend. And so to just call you a rock musician would not be doing you justice. And by the way, my dog Bella says hello.
Hey, Bella.
But I know you have a multi-poo yourself, so we were talking about that pre-interview. But talk to me about specifically your songwriting, Dan, and when you realize that you were going to be more than just a singer, that you had something within you to get out from a creator's standpoint.
Yeah. Well, I took guitar lessons. My mom was nice enough to pay for me to take lessons when I was, a teenager, and I was into it to a certain level. But then maybe shortly after I, heard that Who record I mentioned, I and I think I was listening to maybe some Beatles stuff too. I just would get together with some friends that weren't even musicians, and we would write these songs. This is when I'm about 13, and they'd be mostly funny songs or songs that were total rip-offs of popular songs and things like that. And we would make entire tapes of pretending we were putting on a radio show, and we'd sing some songs live and things like that. And that's when I got like really interested, and now I really want to learn the guitar so I can write songs. And then I think I kind of took a pause and got into creative writing for a bit in high school. And then when I was in college, I was actually an English major and for creative writing, but I was taking guitar lessons and I just started writing again. And it just I guess I did some performances and people were very encouraging, and I was like, all right, this is something I can do that I get a lot of pleasure out of, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Isn't it amazing that sometimes in our artistic journeys, and I can totally relate to this as a
Hmm.
director, so many of my years performing, but I always knew I wanted to direct, but it kind of like came back around when it was meant to.
Yeah.
What I love a lot about you, Dan, and not only just speaking with you and feeling your vibe, but just researching you, it seems like that childlike sense of play and wonder has truly never left you. And it's obviously has served you well because not only are you an ASCAP award-winning songwriter, but you've toured the country and world performing your original songs. And on top of that, there's one album in particular I'd love for you to give the audience a backstory on,
Sure.
one that is so so incredibly moving, and I think fuses so many different musical genres and
Mm,
sensibilities. And that's obviously, of course, your album of Tales from Earth Incorporated.
yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the concept behind that album and what you're most proud of about the album.
Yeah, it's over the last several years, it's just a lot of things that have been going on in the world socially have really affected me. And I had a bad health uh, spell a few years back, and went through on a certain level facing my own mortality. I fortunately came out well from it, but if you go through something like that, it makes you a little more sensitive, and artists are pretty sensitive anyway. So it kind of hypersensitized me, I think, to a lot of things going on in the world. And I was just noticing that so much of the world's problems are driven by greed, whether it's corporate greed or political greed and such. And that just kind of struck me in a way that I saw how that tied into so many things, from climate change to people being wrongfully imprisoned in for-profit prisons and things like that. And I decided to do a concept album showing how greed affects people all around the world, in South America, Africa, the United States, so many different places. And it's actually morphing into my current project, which is tentatively called The Seas Are Rising, which is a cycle of songs specifically about climate change and environmental issues. And Tales from Earth Incorporated was also a live show, and this is going to be the new live show. We'll take some of the songs from Tales from Earth Incorporated and also the new songs with a bit more of a focus on environmental issues. As far as what I'm most proud of, um, I mean, I had some really cool experiences. Like, there's a song on there called Zero Tolerance, and it's about kids in Pennsylvania who were put in this juvenile prison by these judges that were making profit from for getting kickbacks from a for-profit juvenile center. And I actually, was in contact with some of the teens. They're now adults, and their families, and had, actual interaction with them, and that was extremely gratifying. Um, I won. You mentioned ASCAP. I won an award for that album from a group called Elephant Talk, which is here in New Jersey, and they do a lot of benefit concerts in South Jersey, and they do a indie music awards ceremony every year, and they gave me Songwriter of the Year for the year the album came out. And I was just proud to, be able to take the music out. I went to the UK. I performed in Spain, so expanded the horizons a bit and developed multiple ways of doing the show, ranging from with a very large ensemble with rock and world instruments and horns and strings and things, and then during the pandemic especially, and for solo performing, a way to do it also just by myself, with backing tracks in some cases, or sometimes just totally stripped down.
That's incredible, Dan. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, first and foremost, just to affirm the fact that you have been able to look within into some really vulnerable parts of yourself,
Yeah.
but to be able to express it through your craft in a transcendent, universal way that can help heal others as well as yourself. And for me, that's the sign of a true artist.
Oh, thank you. That's that's a really nice compliment. Thank you.
Listen, I'm from New York. I say it like
Mhm.
it is. Dan, Dan, I could speak with you forever, but I do want to let our audience know for more on the incredible, multifaceted artist, dare I say, true artist, Dan Sheehan. You can read more about him right below this video, and please do, because I know that I cannot wait for this full song cycle to be released. I can't wait to see it on a stage. And Dan, I am just so grateful that not only are you joining this revolutionary new social media app where you're going to be able to connect with artists, not only in this
Mhm.
country, but around the world, in many of the places you've performed. But
Right.
I'm grateful that we're connected now, Dan, and thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you. This is a great, great interview. Thank you so much.